I hesitated making this video because obviously the Thunder are playing right now against the Pacers, and I am a very forward Thunder fan. Haven't hid that from anybody since Kevin Durant played there. But also, I am a Colts fan, so didn't want to rub salt in the wound for anybody with the Pacers while talking about the Colts as well. I do have a couple people that are like, "How are you on the side of the Thunder right now? You're supposed to be a Colts fan." I'm like, "Yeah, we'll get back together in September, but just take this L for now." Anyway, I wanted to talk about this for a couple weeks since I saw the news of the Anthony Richardson injury, which I think is going to sideline him for a lot longer than what they're expecting to be is the beginning of I think the preseason or the end of training camp. Either way, I don't think he's going to play as much this season as we think he's going to. So the question that came up is number one, is he a bust? Is this the end of the Anthony Richardson era? And there's a lot of stuff here that I'm really upset about that I wish we can redo. Number one, if we go back to the 2023 draft, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, the top three quarterbacks to go. Now, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but it's just a question that I want to make sure that I bring to the channel. Is this a better pick than Anthony Richardson would have been? Would you have taken a Tyree Wilson, a Paris Johnson, a Jalen Carter, any defensive, a Will McDonald? Would you have taken any defensive player, or would you have taken somebody like Jackson Smith and Jigba, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers? Would you have taken any player over Anthony Richardson in 2023 if it meant that next year you would get one of the following six players? So let me just rephrase. Would you have taken anybody in the draft, a wide receiver like Jackson Smith and Jigma, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, Will McDonald, Jalen Carter, Luke Van Ness? Would you have taken any of those players in 2023 if it meant that you would be able to get Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, or Bo Nix in next year's draft and have them to play for 2024 and 2025? Would you have done it? Would you have done it? Me? Yes. I would have taken any of those players in 2023 if I had known that it would have led to any of those six quarterbacks that we had in 2024. Now, the last draft year in 2025, obviously Cam Ward was the pick, and then you have Shadur, you have a lot of people that it wasn't a strong quarterback class, but 2024 was on the horizon. So if you're the Colts and you had already been through the list of quarterbacks, and I'm just going to bring it to your attention again because this is ridiculous. I haven't seen anything like this in the NFL, and maybe there's a couple teams that are like that, but Matt Hasselbeck, Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett, Luck again, then the retirement, Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson has not played a full season of football just yet in 2023 and 2024. 4 games in 23 on his rookie year, and in 11, another injury, and Joe Flacco goes for 6 games. Now, in 2023, we had an opportunity. We were right at the doorstep of winning the divisional title on a 4th and 3 drop from Minshew to a running back. I've deleted his name from my history because I remember that Saturday night we were winning that game. I felt really good about it, and it came down to one last play. Extremely frustrating. Not that we were going to make it far in the run for the playoffs anyway, but for at least for us to have a division title puts us in the correct direction. Anthony Richardson stats in 2 years. Do we really need to go over this? But I guess we do. Um, Only completed 60% of his passes in his first year in 4 games. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. 11 games in 2024, less than 50% of his passes. 12 picks, 8 touchdowns. Now I understand his rushing ability, but in 2 years we have enough of a sample size. We don't have a full season, but we have 15 games. Anthony Richardson has a ceiling of a backup quarterback in the league. They even said it. We just went away from it because we were like, oh, I don't want to believe it. Everyone was saying he needs development. He needs to stay healthy, and he's a very boom or bust level of a pick. Colts fans were told it's going to take time for him to grow into the super quarterback we all want him to be and we desperately need, but he was the furthest from a sure thing in that draft. He was never going to be a guarantee, and he was never going to have all the appealing traits right up front that we wanted. 2 injuries that set him back to where he couldn't play a whole season, and now we have a third, the same injury on the shoulder that may sideline him. They say it's going to sideline him until the end of training camp or to the postseason, but I don't think he's going to play much this year. I think he's going to have, I don't know if there's Vegas odds on this or not, but I think he's going to have a year of, let's call it 8.5 games. I'm going to put the over under on Anthony Richardson at 8.5 games. I think he doesn't play. I don't think he plays more than half the season. I think Daniel Jones is going to be the starter, and Anthony Richardson is going to fall into the shadows of backup quarterbacks that never had a shot. He's not going to get his rookie contract renewed. I think the Colts are done with him after this year, and we kind of have an idea of what we have. And I don't know why this experiment took this long or why we got into it anyway. This is why you have to battle from a place of strength versus desperation. Because as I said earlier, if you're a Colts fan, would you have taken any of those picks that I named before on the defensive or offensive side of the ball that wasn't a quarterback? Would you have taken the time to develop them into a star wide receiver, a star offensive tackle, a star defensive end, a star outside linebacker, and just bridge a year with Gardner Minshew or any other backup quarterback that would have been available in the league that year, with the expectation that you would still have a top 5 pick and you would have the ability to trade up and move? You may not have gotten Caleb unless you had the worst record, but you could have gotten Jaden Daniels. You could have gotten Drake May. You could have gotten Bo Nix, which all 3 of them, Drake May has promise. He didn't make the playoffs, but there's a chance that he will be able to get there. They definitely look better and will look better with new coaching in Vrabel this year. Do you think that Jaden Daniels, who went to the NFC Championship in his first year, would that have been better than Anthony Richardson? Bo Nix, who got a playoff berth, made the playoffs with the Broncos, with Sean Payton, first year. Really strong upgrade there. J.J. McCarthy hadn't played yet. Injury sidelined him, but I think that's even a better opportunity than we had because the upside is there with J.J. McCarthy as well. I'm just so hamstrung on the fact that we needed to draft a quarterback so poorly and the fans made it so difficult that we didn't even do our due diligence to get the right person. We just took whatever was in front of us and whatever we could have gotten. And that has hampered our franchise even further. Now, this year we'll see what Daniel Jones is, because one of the interesting things about Daniel Jones is I saw this and I want to see if I can share it with y'all. There was a comparison between Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones. And I want to make sure I bring that to the front of the screen because it is pretty interesting. So, Trevor Lawrence has the better PR presence in the media side of it. But if we start to look at these stats together, this is who our potential starting quarterback is for the Colts for this upcoming season. Only 10 more games than Trevor Lawrence, maybe because of injury. Completion percentage about the same, 64 versus 63%. Both of them have equal passing yards, 14,000 versus 13,000, difference of a couple hundred. Daniel Jones has more passing touchdowns, about the same for interceptions, rushing attempts, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and that's what you have between Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is Trevor Lawrence, and I think Trevor Lawrence is a better prospect and has a lot more weapons and things around it. I bring that graphic up because if Daniel Jones is anywhere close to Trevor Lawrence playing in Indiana, I think we have a shot to get even better. I think Daniel Jones is, if he's on the same level of Trevor Lawrence, I think that puts us better than having. I think that puts us in a situation where we're better than having Gardner Minshew, which we again also had an opportunity to win a divisional title there. Right? I think that puts us in a better conversation where we at least get to a playoff game, maybe a division title. But this upcoming draft, we'll see what happens. I don't think Anthony Richardson plays more than half the season. I think he sits out. I think he has another injury, and I don't think he's going to get his contract extension. I think he goes into a second string, third string quarterback consistently competing for his job, and the conversation needs to happen now. The Colts made a mistake. They never rallied back from Andrew Luck's retirement in 2019. They had our best quarterback play that we've had in that span was Phillip Rivers, where we got to a wild card playoff game against the Bills and had an opportunity to win it. That was our best we've ever looked in the last 8 years since Andrew Luck's retirement, and we have not looked right since. The second best was Gardner Minshew getting us on the door of a playoff, of a divisional title. Everything else just looked pretty bad. So I hate to give up on Anthony Richardson after not even full 2 seasons, but 2 years. We've had one injury, an injury to a re-injury to the original injury. So we've had 3 totals that have kept him out. And the way he plays is very much run first, and he doesn't necessarily protect himself. So we'll see what we look like with Daniel Jones as a starter this year. That's the way I would want it to go. But I am not positive on the future for Anthony Richardson, and I'm not really positive for our quarterback conversation of the future. Because if we're not getting an Archie Manning, which I don't think we're going to be bad enough to be the top 1 or 2 overall pick this year, because we have too much good talent on both sides of the ball, I just don't know how much longer we're going to be in this quarterback hole. Hopefully it all ends soon. We'll see what Daniel Jones has got. If you can, greatly appreciate it if y'all go through and comment, share, or subscribe. Put a comment below. Let's have a conversation about this. Is Anthony Richardson a bust? You all let me know. Does Daniel Jones have an opportunity to become the quarterback that we need for the Indianapolis Colts? Let's have a conversation about it.